Wind the clock back 12 months and this game would have been a standout in the Championship. Luton fresh off a season in the Premier League and Argyle under the stewardship of an England great. Today, although some of the things are the same, it is a Sky Bet League One fixture where both sides are looking to find some form. The Premier League is now a very distant memory for Luton Town. Back-to-back relegation season, back in the third tier for the first time since 2019. And while England still have an England great in charge, Tom Cleverley's Greens are trying to do what Wayne Rooney's couldn't, and that is win at Kenilworth Road. It is a fixture with a lot of history, the 106th meeting between the two, 120 years on from the very first time they met at Luton's spiritual home. All of the action is coming your way on Argyle TV. Hello, good afternoon. I am Charlie Price. This is the pre-match show on Matchday Live on Argyle TV. And Kenilworth Road is celebrating its 120th birthday today, fittingly against the side where it all started back in 1905. Plymouth Argyle were the very first opposition back then, as they are again today. Now, both of these teams will be aiming to get a little run of form going come 5 o'clock, hoping to be in party mood. Luton's last home game ended in defeat in the league, whereas Argyle are looking to build on last weekend's big win against Stockport County. And they are looking to string a few results together. Now, match passes, both audio and video, are available to purchase on our website right now. Just head to pafc.co.uk for all of the details. Joining me this afternoon in the studio here at Home Park is the former Argyle defender Brian McGlinchey, who's played in a couple of these games. Yeah, Luton, Argyle. They're always a little bit tasty, aren't they, Brian? Yeah,
well, back in my day it was Joe Kinnear. There was a bit of I don't know.
Needle
is probably the right word, yeah. So yeah, they were good games to play in. They were sort of us and them for the championship that year. So yeah, good memories.
Quite often Argyle do end up in a bit of a battle, whether it be for promotion. There was that one, obviously. Yeah. There's been a couple previously. Last year it was a relegation scrap, and they both obviously slipped through the trapdoor. Over 100 matches played between the two sides. They're quite often in the same leagues, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, they've had a big fall from grace, haven't they, with sort of back-to-back relegations, really, from the Premiership. Just shows you how quickly football can change in a way. But yeah, lots of turnover of players, both sides, really. So they'll be looking to get their seasons, after this sort of recent international break, get their sort of season up and running, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Luton didn't play last weekend because of those international gaps. Argyle did, and they got a really impressive win against Stockport County, which kind of felt to everybody like it was a kind of a stamping of authority. This is what we can do at this level.
Yeah, I think the result was coming, to be honest. I think there was green shoots of different periods of games, but just things weren't going our way. I think he probably had his strongest line out as well, able to sort of pick, and obviously the striker coming in as well as a big plus for us. But yeah, I think Cleverley's probably thought, right, this is the first time I'm getting his strongest lineup out there, and able to put some sort of the work in pre-season, work on the training ground to fruition, really.
Yeah, and he's had a whole week to do just that as well, which is something I know he is very happy that he's been able to do, with no games mid-week. Here are the Argyle players arriving at Kenilworth Road, one of the older grounds, tight changing rooms, morale high, as you can see. Let's have a look at the Argyle side then, to see who he has chosen, Tom Cleverley, to play this afternoon. And the 11 shows just the single change from last weekend's win against Stockport County. Matthias Ross comes in for his first league start, taking the place of Cornell Such. There is a spot on the bench as well for Law McCabe. First time he's involved in an Argyle match day. And Bim Peppel, signed from Luton in the summer, also back on the bench this afternoon. No surprises, maybe, Brian, that they have stuck with the back three, five, whatever you want to call it, for this one?
Yeah, I think, well, obviously worked well at the game against Stockport. Obviously, he probably prefers to play the four at the back cleverly. Obviously, he played that at Watford, and he came in and played that. But I think maybe he needs maybe bigger numbers around the defensively. So maybe away from home at times that will be a back five. But then also it's really crucial your wing backs get high up the pitch as well. Because if you're going to sit down at the back five, you're not going to penetrate teams as well. So it's a tough role, the wing back role. bit of a, if you can get it working well, it's quite a great role to play. It's a good teams find it struggle to, with the extra sort of body in the middle of the park as well.
Yeah. The wing back roles are crucial, as you said, and we know about Joe Edwards' energy.
Yeah.
He's come back into the side the last couple of matches. Matti Sorinola too. You mentioned though not getting too stuck back, trying to release.
Yeah, I think there's periods in games, like first 10, 15 minutes, they're the times of games you maybe want to sit in and get a feel for the game. But as the game goes on, you want to be able to get forward. But you're right, both those players like to get crosses in or get forward. Like Edwards was a period, a couple of years we were scoring loads of goals, wasn't there? So, yeah, he won't be shy from going forward. But I think it's the manager giving that autonomy to be brave and go forward. But again, it's just sort of judgment, using the right times of games to do these things. I'm sure they'll be well versed on what the plan is. And as you said, they've had a week on the training pitch to try and sort of understand how they're going to sort of attack this game.
Yeah, I always fall into that category of saying week off.
I
get put in my place.
But in the footballer's eyes, it is not playing matches.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Another area that has shown strength over the last couple of matches is the middle of midfield. Malachi Boateng won the Player of the Month last month. He's kind of been that rock in there, but it felt like a coming of age game for the other midfielder, Bradley Ibrahim. Got his first goal, has a lot of energy, led all of the sort of interception and tackle stats in the game. He feels like a bit of a complete midfielder when he's on it.
Yeah, to be honest, I feel he's been one of the better players from the start of the season. I think he's impressed me from the day he's come in. He's full of energy. He plays most of the games. He's played some of the cup games as well. So I feel that he's got loads of energy. He's really confident. I guess part of his game, and he's a young lad as well, is probably that discipline. Maybe he's had a few yellow cards, isn't he? He likes to get involved with people, with the opposition. But from a technical perspective, I think he's very good. He's brave. He wants the ball. I like him, and I think it's a good mix in the middle of the park with Boateng as well. So hopefully he'll have a good game today.
Yeah. But
it was interesting the amount of shots we had from outside the box. That was really interesting. And their Luton manager actually mentioned it in his press conference that. That's something they're going to be sort of wary of.
And it's something actually over the last few years we haven't seen an Argyle side do. And the first year back in the Championship, obviously with Morgan Whittaker was kind of hitting them from everywhere. But Caleb Watts' hit, you can see the movement on the ball. All of the goals bar the own goal, so 3 out of 4 were from outside the box, weren't they?
I think remember Schumacher saying around when he was recruiting players, he was looking for players he could shoot outside the box, and he brought in Finazaz and he brought in Whittaker, who the amount of goals they score from outside the box. I think when teams sit deep, especially at home now, teams will sit deep and we've got to sort of penetrate them. So maybe shots from deep, from outside the box. If you're good at that, you can hurt teams.
Yeah, you mentioned Ibrahim's disciplinary record. He is 1 yellow card away from a suspension already, but he has been for the last couple of games, so he's reined it in a little bit. Let's hope it doesn't happen today for sure. Let's have a look at the Luton side then. As mentioned, they didn't have a game last weekend because of international call-ups, but they've only made the one change from their last league game, which was a 3-0 victory at Burton Albion a couple of weeks ago. That change is also in defence, a bit like Argyle's. It sees Mads Anderson come in for McGuinness, who left for Sheffield United on deadline day. Jerry Yates leading the line as normal, has 2 goals in his last 3 games against Argyle, and there could be a debut for one of 2 players who are on the bench today. Keep an eye out for Joe Bode and Shaden Morris, who are both deadline day signings and are looking to make their first league appearances for the club. They do have quality in that side, Brian. If you look kind of through the team, you look at like Jerry Yates. Nordas cost £5 million last year. Yeah. Anderson was played in the Championship for the last couple of seasons. Jordan Clark is always an energetic runner in the midfield. And we know about Nigel Lonwijk from what he did with Argyle a few seasons ago. It's a big test. It's a quality team.
Yeah, they've had lots of turnover, as I said. They've got lots of injuries as well, I believe. And I think they're all coming back at the one period of time from what their manager was saying. But they're a good side. Saville's a good player as well. He was at Millwall. But yeah, they'll be looking to go straight back up again. They've obviously invested. I would say their budget's probably as high as ours or more, probably, I would guess. But this will be a tough test. Like Kenilworth Road's not an easy place to play. It's quite a tight pitch. and the crowd are on top of you a little bit, and so the atmosphere is really good there. So they'll be sort of hoping that they can get the crowd going. But for me, they haven't played in a while, so for me, I think it's about Argyle getting at them. You know, they could be slow off the blocks. I think it's about.
Does that make a difference?
Yeah, I think it does.
Because people say you've had a rest, so you've had time where you've not like picked up injuries or you've been able to recoup.
Personally, I think you lose your rhythm. I think you need to play games consistently. You see it when players are out injured for a while, when they come back, it takes a long time to get the rhythm. Even a couple of weeks of not playing a match, you can lose that bit of sharpness. So Argyle being sort of match ready, you know, they've had a week off as well. So, you know, Argyle played last Saturday, so they should be on the front foot and making it difficult for Luton. But look, football, you know, it's hard to predict it, isn't it? It could be the total opposite. Luton could come out flying out of the blocks, and we could
how many times have we sat in here and said something, and the game's gone completely different? Anyway, we do know what we're talking about, I promise.
Wow.
Let's hear from Tom Cleverley, shall we? He, as Brian has just been saying, has been delighted that he's had a clean week, to get to work with all of his players this time around. Here are his thoughts. The trick is now, obviously, to put a little cluster of performances and wins and results and stuff together, isn't it? But it will be tough against Luton, who, like us, came down last year and have started quite strongly.
I think performance is the key word there. If we put consistency in our performances, I think we give ourselves the best chance. Now, I think we've got some very talented players, and if we perform to the best of our ability and do our jobs in every phase, we give ourselves a really big chance of winning a lot of football matches. We've not managed to do that yet. It's been a lot of 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, and we need to be not fearful of that, but we need to be conscious of that and make sure that doesn't happen this weekend.
Yeah, $1 million question. How do we make sure that doesn't happen this weekend then?
Again, a lot of going to Kenilworth Road, you're going to have to defend your box well. They've got an incredible attacking unit, where getting the ball in from wide areas with Shade and Morrison on one side and Ali on the other. They're 2 dangerous wide players, and then they've got a collection of strikers to pick from who you could make an argument are all proven at championship level. So it's going to be a big test. We have to defend our box, but we also have to have the personality to put our own stamp on the game. I think we can go there. We can have good time on the ball. There's good confidence running through the team, and I think you saw that in our attacking play last week. We have to be more ruthless and clinical than we have been in our 3 previous away games.
Yeah, the trick is away game compared to home game now. We know, we saw it even the last couple of seasons, that Argyle are a match for quite a few teams at home.
Yeah.
You know, their wins against Leicester and Sheffield United, and even that game against Leeds at the back end of last season, we saw it. But it's never translated, recently anyway, into those away games. So can they do what they did against Stockport against Luton today?
Well, I think the managers talked about confidence. They should have more confidence after the Stockport performance. But yeah, it is difficult. And don't forget, we're judging the away performances in a championship division, so it's a real tough. You know, it's not unforgiving in a way. So, but yeah, I think you've got to, if you're going to go up, you're going to have to win games away from home. You're going to have to take points there. You're going to have to be difficult to beat. But he talks about levels of performance. That's what they need. They need players doing their jobs really, really well. 7, 8 out of 10. That type of performance to get results at Luton, because they're vying for promotion as well. That's what their aspirations are.
Yeah.
So
and also, you mentioned defending the box well. The crosses, it's a tight pitch, as you've already mentioned. Argyle's defensive record has been poor this year.
Yeah, but maybe the three centre halves, the extra height in there might help them. That could be another reason why we wanted to go there, but they defend crosses. But yeah, but you don't want to be sitting too deep in that position. You don't want to invite crosses. You want to be making sure you're sort of high up the pitch and you're making it difficult for them. But it was interesting, he said maybe time on the ball. I don't know. Every time I've played at Kenilworth Road, it's been, you don't get much time on the ball. It's a real good atmosphere, and it's a dogfight games usually when I watch games there. So and they are a real big, powerful side, as he said. So it's just Argyle really making sure that they play the percentages as well and don't take any chances and make it difficult for them.
Yeah, I suppose in terms of that back line as well, although goals have been conceded, we've kind of felt like we've seen an improvement in a bit of organisation when Joe Edwards has come in. He just adds a little bit of that extra experience.
Of course.
Alex Mitchell as well, as someone who's just got a little bit of extra steal maybe.
Yeah.
And Matthias Ross, he's only played a couple of games. He's tall. He wins a lot of aerial duels. That maybe again kind of goes into the thinking of we might have to do that a little bit today.
Yeah. Well, he's talking about he has to defend the box really well, but you're right around Edwards coming in. He's your captain. He's a talker. And Mitchell, like the games I've watched, he's always talking, moving people, and that's what you need. You need leaders in your team, and we probably lacked that bit of leadership at the start of the season, where we were conceding goals, for the silly goals in a way. Really, that gives you an uphill battle of trying to win games or get points on the board. So fundamentally, we know if we can keep clean sheets, we can build from there, and we showed at last weekend we can score goals.
Yeah,
with obviously the great strikes from outside the box as well. So yeah, football's very simple. If you can defend well and you build from there. Really, I think every team I've ever played in that had success has always defensively have been really strong.
Yeah, and no one minds coming back from an away trip where you've scabbed a 1-0 win or something.
Well, that's probably the best ways, isn't it? Really, when you think about it. But maybe
the home fans probably hate it. But,
yeah. But when you maybe haven't played at your best and you grab a 1-0 victory, then that's sort of music to a manager's ears, really, because he knows it can only get better when you play well.
Yeah.
So yeah, but lot of optimism for me. I think Cleverly looks really composed. He's never really lost. He's been very calm, even when things weren't going well, and that sort of. He reminds me a little bit of Schumacher way, not getting too upbeat and a result going well. Like last weekend, he sees the positives, but is realistic of where they are as well.
Yeah.
Not too down when things don't go well.
Yeah. Well, someone who'll be hoping to be up at the end of today with the Kenilworth Road celebrations is the Luton Town manager, Matt Bloomfield. He spoke to the press ahead of this game as well.
Plymouth started quite slowly, didn't they? But they've got bags of quality, and I think won the last two games in the trophy and the league as well. Good win last week. So there's a lot of quality there, isn't there? Still.
Yeah, like ourselves, a big turnover in the summer. So Tom's trying to get his group together and settling them down into a system and a formation and a way of playing that he believes in, but also integrating a lot of new players. But they beat Stockport last weekend, and we know Stockport are a very strong team in this league. So yeah, it's going to be a real stern test for us. They've got some real good players, and we have to be ready.
And far be it from me to stir anything, but Tom Cleverly, former Watford manager, Watford player, back at Kenilworth Road, he'll get a good reception, I'm sure.
I'm sure he will. Tom's a good guy. Obviously, a massive history in the game. Played at such an elite level. Very good coach. I like him. I think he's a good guy. But yeah, it'll be a good atmosphere on Saturday. I really hope it's going to be a good one. I want our fans to really get behind us. I know they will, and I hope we can put on a show that inspires them as well.
And just looking at Plymouth, I mean, they've struggled away from home, I think, so far, but they signed a good player. They Tollage, they brought in the window, and they've obviously been Pepple's gone there as well from yourself. So they've got some attacking players, haven't they? They
have, yeah. Caleb Watts is a real good player. Tollage, obviously, we know. I saw him at Aldershot. Went on to Port Vale and is climbing the leagues and looks like a real potent threat. So they've got players that can hurt us. We saw that as well. Shots from outside the box last weekend. They scored 2. So they've got players that can offer a real threat. They've got a nice athletic profile about them. They're a good team that's obviously growing and improving week by week as well. So it's a tough test for us.
Glowing terms in which Matt Bloomfield talking about Argyle there, which is nice to hear. But he will be very aware of trying to not play up the fact that Argyle have started poorly and don't often win away from home to his players, won't he? You hear that a lot.
Yeah, if you played that, he's recording for next week's game, it's probably similar. A lot of respect for the manager. They're a good side because you're gonna play to the audience a little bit, but I think you'd be very mindful. You use a couple of words like Argyle look more athletic, and I think they do. They got lots of legs in the middle of the park. I think Ibrahim and Boateng really good sort of engines and stuff and get around the pitch. For me, I think he will be respectful of Argyle because I think that their position is a false position. I think we will start to kick on from here, especially now with players in. Edwards come back as well, and Tolai coming in. I think for me, he looks. His last finish in the last game was very good.
Unbelievable. Wasn't it?
Yeah, really good finish. Showed he's like a clinical striker. What we needed, isn't it? So. I think lots more positivity around the club at the moment. So it's good to see.
On Luton, they obviously have had this really difficult couple of seasons, the back-to-back relegations, which, that's going to be quite difficult to turn the tide on anyway, I imagine.
Of course.
However, you mentioned the kind of the amount of players that have been turned over. good quality players that have come in, even though they've been on a bit of a slump, there will be quite big expectations on them this year. So there'll be a pressure, won't there, to just be at the top the entire time, near the top the entire time.
Yeah, but they've got good players that probably can handle that pressure, if I'm honest. So, but yeah, you're right, the expectation for them, and that could work in our favour. And that's where you go as the sort of opposing team today, Argyle, get the crowd frustrated, get them, wanting them to maybe go on the attack and force them into errors and make the game really difficult for them. And that's how you can get an advantage and get on top of them, because their players might then start doing the wrong things, panic, and we've just got to then be in the position where we can exploit that. And that's by making sure you're always in the game and making sure you're not giving yourself a goal behind or 2 goals behind to then go and chase it. So that's the key thing, is making sure you're always in the game and you've got a chance. And then once the game opens up, and most games do open up in the last 25 minutes or so, and it's Argyle to try and take that opportunity.
Yeah, and that's what they haven't done in the last, every away game so far this season, really. You look at Bolton, probably the best away performance of the season, maybe, weirdly.
Okay.
Lincoln, they were 3-0 down in that game. Really difficult to come back from it.
Well, they nearly did,
Cardiff
didn't they?
As well. And I know they nearly did,
but it just shows you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If they were 1-0 down, they could have come back in the game. But
and Cardiff was the same in the game, and then 5 minutes after time, you're 3-0 down.
Yeah.
That you kind of have to avoid that, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You can't. If you're 2-3-0 down, you're chasing your game. Then you're leaving spaces, and then it gets worse. So yeah, I think it's been defensively more solid, which did seem that way against Stockport. Wasn't at the game, but from what I've read in the highlights. So again, I think it'll be a bit more defensive today. I think maybe the back 5 might sit a bit deeper today, just to maybe initially to sort of sound the game out. But you don't want to bring Luton onto you either, because he did say they're a big unit and invite crosses and that type of stuff. So it's that balance really of being set up nice and strong from a structural perspective, but then also then having a threat. And we've got the players to do that. Definitely got the players to impact them.
Yeah, well, Argyle will be looking to do something that they haven't done for quite some time, 10 years almost, and that is beat Luton at Kenilworth Road. Luton's second meanest defence in the division, so if you do go behind, it won't be easy to get back and even go in front. And obviously on their celebrations, 120th year of Kenilworth Road, there will be some atmosphere inside the ground, that is for sure. Now, if you haven't got your match passes, make sure you go and get them from our website right now. Head to pafc.co.uk, click on the Argyle TV tab, that'll take you through commentary from Kenilworth Road coming from former Argyle midfielder Gary Nelson and Rob McNichol. That is coming up very, very shortly, right after this.